Hello, everyone. Welcome to this book launch, online book launch of Shelley the Jellyfish. I'm very excited to have all of you here and this wonderful panel, which is present with me. I'm going to introduce shortly. But before we begin, I'm just going to ask you, rather remind you to use the hashtag ask the author and ask your question because you have the chance to win a free book, and the three best questions will get a video from the author answering the question. And once again, before we move on, I am going to ask you a question which you can write the answer in the chat box in the comment section. That is, which is the most embarrassing mistake you have made in your life? Because we all make mistakes, so don't lie and don't shy, because this book celebrates mistakes. In fact, I would say that mistakes are a very important facet in the journey of learning. We all make mistakes, it's very natural. And when we own up to them, we are very courageous. So be courageous, just like Shelley the Jellyfish, and write it down in the chat box. So I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Sara Bubber. I am the founder of Sara Stories. I'm a storyteller. My educational background lies in human development and family studies with a major focus on childhood. And I'm also a practitioner of meditation and a trainer in the Heartfulness Institute. So I think enough about me. I'm going to introduce my panel. We have some wonderful people. We're going to have a multitude of perspectives in this conversation with you all. We have the principal of a Montessori school, which is Sheena George. We have a mother who is a material scientist, a poet, and a wonderful amalgamation of all of this, that is Trupti Kalamdani. And we have Sumaya, the very, very talented illustrator from Jordan. And of course, we have the star of the show, Priyanka Grewal, who is the author of this book. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Sheena George to share her perspectives on this book, because I think I've heard from Priyanka that she's played a very important role. So let's know more about that from her.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm delighted to be a part of this very special book launch. It comes to me as no surprise that Priyanka has brought out this beautifully illustrated children's book, Shelly the Jellyfish. I have known Priyanka for many years. She's a compelling children's storyteller using intonation and drama to make every tale come alive. It was fascinating to watch the children, completely mesmerized, taking in every word, expression, and movement. In fact, I remember telling Priyanka how her sessions were opening up a new world for children and how she was single-handedly giving them the greatest book that which to live their lives. A love for books, which meant embracing their imagination and moving fluidly in the world. As an educator, I've understood that young children come into this world curious about everything: the sky and the rainbows in them, the air and flowers blowing in the wind, the water and ships sailing on them. They are, of course, fascinated by waters under the water too. So when Priyanka gave me the first draft of Shelley the Jellyfish, I was delighted. I knew immediately that young minds would fall in love with Shelley and with the intrinsic element that is her home in a planet that is ours too. Shelley, like fledgling human children, has to learn to navigate a new world and make some missteps until she comes into the light of a whole different understanding. In fact, there is a direct link between a jellyfish swimming in the ocean and Maria Montessori's own vision for a new world focused on transferring knowledge in the best possible way. The Montessori approach cherishes children's freedom to make and correct their own mistakes. This process is called control of error and is inbuilt in Montessori work. Mistakes are viewed as part of the learning process, and a goal being to help children recognize and resolve errors on their own as kind of self-correction. This vivid, well-written book will fire the imagination of every child who reads it, and bears because it comes with an audio complete with sound effect. The illustration in this book are extremely appealing and eye-catching. It will definitely stimulate the child's imagination and hold their attention. I loved it. The rhythm of the lines correlates with the rhythm of life on Earth, since the underlying message here is that if you are willing to accept change and be unafraid of all that entails, you will come out stronger and achieve great things. Just like Shelley the Jellyfish. I know for sure that this interactive experience will definitely interest and excite children. This book, Shelley the Jellyfish, needs to be an addition in every child's library. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sheena. And by the way, to the audience, Sheena is the principal of a school which has been ranked 4th in Bangalore and 10th in India. Can you believe it? So we are so pleased to have you here and review this book, Shelley the Jellyfish. In fact, thank you. While we were listening to you, I had a thought that every child has a godmother or a godfather. Even if you're a child or an adult, I think for Priyanka, for this book, Sheena was definitely a godmother. And if you have any godmothers or godfathers, remember them. If they're still there, reach out to them. If they're not, then show your gratitude in some other ways. But definitely do show gratitude and grow. So
thank you.
Here we are. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
So here we are moving on to our next panelist, who is Trupti. We are welcoming her as a material science professional, a poet, a mother who is very involved with her child's development. So I think it's very important, if we want to develop the habit of reading stories, parents must be involved. And that is a parenting tip from here to there. And this is again an open space, so you can also share in the chat box in the comment section. So I'm going to leave this to the stage open to Trupti now.
Hi everyone, good to see you this evening. So when Priyanka told me about the book, I was really excited because she's one of my dear friends, and my son Rushan is one of her students, and her son Ruvir and Rushan are also very good friends. And one thing I liked about Priyanka's storytelling is how creative she is with her stories. You know, she makes it so interactive, and Rushan has loved all of her sessions. And it's really wonderful to see her engage with the kids. And when I read the book, I absolutely loved it. It had so many layers. The story seemed simple, but it had so many layers in the story going on. There was so much learning for the kids, and the flow of the story, the way it was written was excellent. And I really loved the story. So did my son. Immediately when he came to know that Priyanka auntie has written the book, he immediately read it. He heard the audio, and he did also find some of the concept was very different what I thought. You know, it's not just simply reading the audio, reading along with the text was, I think, a very, very different concept. And my son absolutely loved it, and he also found some of the mistakes that they were supposed to find. And yeah, and he also, you know, learned a lot from the book. In fact, there was one question at the end of the book, that what did you learn something new? So yesterday, instead of me asking, he himself came up to me and he said, "Mama, I learned how to throw javelin." So I think it was really, it was really sweet to see him react to the book that way. I think it's the book, as you say, it's about making mistakes. I think children learn a lot from that. Even adults make mistakes. But I think the concept of the book that Priyanka tried to convey, it was, understood by my son. So, and the illustrations were extremely, extremely attractive, and my son loved all the characters. His favorite was, of course, Shelly the Jellyfish. So I'm looking forward to reading it again. And he read it thrice actually. The first day that we read the book together. So we read it thrice. So maybe by next week he'll want to read it again and again. So yeah, I think it's a wonderful book. I think every parent should get it for their children. And the illustrations are amazing. So well done, Priyanka and Sumaya. I'm looking forward to many more books.
Thanks, Trupti. Thanks. So Maya, we have our work planned out for us.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, I just want Rushan to come up and say something. No, you have to say about the book. Say. Okay. I think now he's feeling shy. He was all ready and all pumped up with his answer and what he's going to say.
It's okay. We have that on video, so maybe we can.
Yeah, we have it on video. That was more candid actually, what you have on video.
Thank you, Trupti. I think it is very important. I really resonated with the line that you said, and that was that this book is for everyone, children and adults, and that is also something that Priyanka has mentioned in the book. It's for everyone, because everyone at a different age group will find a different meaning from it. For children, it can be just illustrations and a nice story. For adults, we have a deep meaning to find. So do read it. Don't pass it off as a children's book, because I read it and I found it wonderful. The transformation at the end is really good. So here we are going to welcome our very talented illustrator, Sumaya. She is the one who has brought the characters to life. Whatever Priyanka has written, Dolphin, Krill, Shelly the Jellyfish, they have come to life because of Sumaya's illustration. So I'm going to welcome her to talk about her journey, the process of illustration, and her inspirations, which I found wonderful, and I would love for her to share with everyone.
Thank you so much, Sarah. So hi everyone, I am Sumaya Barakat. I am all the way from Jordan. And before I show you, I made like a little presentation of the artwork of Shelley the Jellyfish. But I just wanted to say how much I loved the story the first time I read it. And I remember I was so stressed out because it was Priyanka's first book and it was also my first illustration book. So I was very nervous. I was like, it's her first book and this is my first book to draw. So I really wanted to do my best. And I love the story so much, and it really touched my heart. So I hope I gave it its value and it's worth with the illustrations. So moving on to the presentation. Okay. I'm gonna start off by showing you some of the characters development before we settled in on the characters. This is how we started with Shelly. Obviously, she was very different after that. We changed her colors and everything. Priyanka really helped me with Shelly because she was the main and the most important character. So we worked hard on her. And here you can see Shelly with her shell on and off, cute both ways.
Yeah. So Maya, I remember telling you that. So if you go to the first slide, I remember telling you I saw those like kind of sharp edges, and I remember I don't know if you remember. I said I want her to like look nice and bouncy,
yeah,
with rounded. Yeah, I think you did an amazing job on this one.
I love Sherry so much. And here we have a little game time. Who's ready to play a little game? Okay, so our little game is, I want you to spot the difference between these two characters. Who can spot them?
So this is, I guess, the seahorse that we started with, isn't it?
Yeah.
For the one on the left.
Yeah, every character you see on the left is the character that we started with, and then the character on the right is the one that we settled on. So the things that we added were, we added his little smile, his little pouch with the glasses, and his little wings. And also here we have the dolphin. She had tattoos before. She was out of a circ, and then she became a beautiful ballerina. And here are all the characters after redrawing them more than one time. So that was our final decision, our cute little family.
But Sumaya, the dolphin also got chubbier, right? So if you go,
Yeah,
I remember that
you
she
can see
like
the
she really
cheeks.
gave her those chubby cheeks.
It's cuter. And here I'm going to talk a little bit about the background design and how I started with the process. So I usually start with the composition. I place my objects, and then I do the outline. So the first step was the outline. And then step 2 was adding the solid colors. I was just like picking my color palette and how I want the theme to be and how I want it to feel. And then step 3, I add the rendering, the shade and the highlights and the shadow and all of these little details. And usually for my background design, I like to use real life references. So for example, for this background that I used for almost all the illustrations, I was inspired from, I took this photo as a reference. I wanted to see how like the shadows working beneath the sea and how everything is falling down. And to get a realer reference, I myself went on a diving trip. This is me before the diving trip. I was very terrified because I was gonna dive into the deep, deep ocean. And I took some photos down there in the Red Sea. I took photos of the corals and some fish, just to take some reference. And I remember I took this photo because I really liked how the sun was like right on top of me, and I actually used this as a reference for the rest of my illustrations. So the trip was really helpful, and I felt like Shelley.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
I was just sorry, Sumaya.
I don't know,
I
continue.
was just going to ask you, were you scared? Or was it the first time that you went scuba diving? And because that's something that's very prominent in the book as well, where she's really scared to venture away from her reef, right? So how was it? How was it for you? How did the experience feel for you in that respect?
Well, it was not my first time. I did it when I was very young. I did it when I was almost 12, and I remember that I fainted in the water. So that's why, like, when I wanted to do it next time, like after 10 years, I was very terrified. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna faint again. I'm gonna not be able to breathe. I'm gonna die down there. But no, actually, it was fun. I had a hard time trying to breathe, but no, it was amazing. And literally, like being under the ocean is so surreal. You don't feel like you're a human anymore. So it was amazing.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, because um, I feel like a lot of Shelley, the journey that she went through in the book is something that I didn't know this about you until right now, that this was the experience that you had. And the first time when you did it, it was so traumatic. Um, but just like Shelley, I'm guessing like you went for it again and kind of conquered your fear and had a good time and discovered maybe something new about yourself in the process.
Oh my God, a lot of things. I discovered a lot of things, and I was like, Sumaya, like, if I want to do this book, if I'm gonna draw this book, I'm gonna go all the way in. I'm gonna like, I should feel how like I want to be in the experience. I want to be in the ocean. I want to feel the corals. I want to be underwater and actually live the experience, so I can like do the best that I can with the illustrations, so I can bring them to life. So yeah, I was dedicated. I faced my fear. Okay, so going back to the steps, step 4, I usually add the characters and just like set the whole composition. And yeah, that's the final look. And something that I really like to do with my background illustrations is that I really like to focus on shade and shadow and also the textures, because especially for a children book, I feel like texture adds really like this sketchy, childish feel and look. That's why I like to use also with my brushes. If you actually really zoom in, you can see that I'm using like a pen brush, because I really like that childish, real sketchy feeling. So these, like, this is an example for one of my illustrations before the texture and the lighting and shade and shadow. And here's before. You can see how much like it adds.
Yeah.
And now we have a gift for all the little kids that are watching us, or the kids who are gonna read the story. We made coloring pages for you little guys to, like, you can fit them out, you can color them the way you want. You don't have to stick with our color palette. You can do whatever you want. You can make Shelly blue or yellow, like do whatever you want, feel free. And all the moms can tag us on Shelly the Jellyfish so we can see our little cute coloring pages, and we can post them also on the page. So yeah, that's it. Thank you. Does
Thank you,
anyone
Sumaya.
has a question? Thank you.
I really love the illustrations. Even the first time when I saw them even before the book was released. And I think that was the time I really loved all the illustrations. And especially I find dolphin very cute because I have something with dolphins. And any dolphin I go and I really want to cuddle it and hug it. And I haven't had the opportunity to see it too many times. I've seen it once, and that was
Oh,
really sweet.
lucky. That's amazing. Thank you all so much.
I really found it wonderful that you took this extra mile to go into the ocean and to make your illustrations come to life. And that is really the sign of a really talented illustrator. And you're just all of 24, and that is the surprising thing that you can illustrate so very well. You have a wonderful future to go.
Thank you so much. Shelley will always be my favorite book.
Sumaya, can I say something?
Sure.
I think the first thing that drew me to the book was the illustration. I just loved Shelley. And then, of course, when I opened the book and started reading, it was amazing. But the first page, the cover was amazing. I just loved it. I think that's a brilliant idea.
Thank you
And
so
it just
much.
captures the whole story beautifully. I was so happy when I saw
You're
it.
so sweet. That
Seriously.
means so much. I mean, the story originally is a great, so I was like, I need to give it its right and worth. Like, so yeah, that's why I worked that extra mile, and it's very special. Like, just like I said, for both Priyanka and me. So yeah, I'm so happy you liked it. That means a lot. Thank you.
So you're ready to go for the second book with Priyanka?
Sure, I'm all hers. Just call me whenever you want, Priyanka.
Are you going to skydive, Sumaya, this time?
Ooh,
For the next
like maybe depends on the book.
No, we have a story about birds next time, maybe.
The book will decide my fate, like whether it's scuba diving, skydiving. I'm ready.
Priyanka, it's up to you what you're going to make her do next time.
What are you gonna do with me?
But that's commendable to know the
We're
story.
going to have to skydive to see the birds from the top view.
That'd be amazing. I don't mind. I like a challenge.
And I was just thinking that each one of these characters, so we have Shelley, and I can clearly see like there's a Shelley in each one of us, and right now it's very predominantly seen in Sumaya right now. And the other day I asked my son, I said, which character do you think like you would relate to, or do you think that I relate to which character? What characters do you see around you? Because the end is like to get the story out of the books and actually in their lives, right? So he told me, you are definitely the octo. The doctor who's played by the octopus. You are definitely the octo. And that kind of came pat the reply. He's like, I don't know about the others, but you definitely are the octo.
That's so cute. I feel like that's another game we can add to the little kids. Like, what characters are you? So they can
Yes.
get excited. Yeah.
And then
That's
there's
amazing.
this starfish who's very silent, but she's a part of the story, but she's still very much present in the entire story. And, you know, there are kids who might relate to that, relate to
The quiet ones,
the personalities of each character. So that's something that I just thought of right now when you showed that slide with all the characters out there.
That's amazing. That's so inspiring.
I'm having a lot of fun here just listening to this conversation, and I think I could be starfish, just sitting quietly and listening. And so today, the last person on our panel is Priyanka Grewal, who is the author of this book. She is a budding entrepreneur and she's the proprietor of Brave Soul Studio, a place which allows for creative expression through storytelling, dramatics, and all the creative arts. I'm very happy to invite Priyanka, but before that, I'm going to tell you that she also enjoys life a lot, hopping between Pune and Bangalore with her husband, son, and little Pooch. And I'm going to give you an insider secret that her little Pooch is the reason that Priyanka and I connected so well in the first meeting itself.
Yeah.
I mean, where is it that in a very small group meeting, you would find a beagle lover and a storyteller, and the meeting was not related to either stories or dogs? So I think the answer is not often, and I was very excited, and that's why we hit it off very well from there. And I'm very happy to have her here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like we owe our friendship to the beagles in our homes, right? Like beagles. So true. Really loving this, and right now I'm so excited, and I'm feeling, I don't know, I've said this again and I'm going to say it again and again till I'm blue in the face. A lot of gratitude right now for everybody here, everybody watching, Atta Galatta, for even doing this. So before I even started with the book, I just wanted to put that out there. And now we have the book. So this is our Shelley. So if you look at this, you know that she doesn't look like a normal jellyfish, right? So I don't know how many children are out there watching, but look at her. She doesn't look like a normal jellyfish. So we have, this is an interactive book. And I think as Sheena Auntie has also mentioned earlier, that we have an audio book inside. We have a barcode, which if you scan, you can view you can hear the audiobook. And I'll be playing a little snippet of the audiobook before we leave today. But the audiobook is also not an ordinary audiobook, because although it's beautiful to hear, at least I found it so, if you do listen really carefully and you put your hearing ears on, children, you will notice that there are some reading mistakes made by the narrator. So it's a challenge, isn't it? If you can open the page to what he's reading, which story is he reading, and actually follow through and see what is being read and what is written. And I promise you, it's not going to be an easy task in the beginning. So don't give up, okay? So listen and read and try and see, because these are really tiny errors, you know? So listen, read, and see which errors do you find. Write to us and let us know how many errors did you find. We will love to hear from you. How difficult was it? How easy was it? Or did you just like not feel like doing it for some reason today? Yeah, so we'd like to hear from you. So, and in the end of the book, we also have some really nice introspective questions. So these are questions that these are not like the question and answers that we get in school. No, it's not that. What do we do here? We read these questions and we go and start a conversation with people who we want to make friends with. Or we start a conversation with mom and dad when you feel like, you know, they're too busy, but, you know, let's have a talk. What do we talk about? So these are conversation starters. You could have a book party, you know, where you all sit together and read this book and then talk about these questions and see which character is which in this family. Let me see who's who. So there's a lot of ways that we can explore, not just this book, but any book that we have at home. A lot of ways to explore it and see how can we draw the most out of it. I don't really want to focus on what do you learn from this story, because we're all very different. And we are all going to learn different things from the same story. So while I might learn to be brave and courageous, somebody else might learn to be alert, to be more observant. So there are lots of different learnings that can come out of this book. So there's not just one learning. So read it again and again and explore it, share it with your friends, and let us know how it was. We'd love to hear from you. So are we ready to hear the book? Listen to the story. So this is a quick synopsis of the book. Shelley the Jellyfish is afraid of the dark. I'm sure there are a lot of us out there who are afraid of the dark. And the deep, deep ocean is no walk in the park. It's very scary. Some parts of the ocean are so dark. Come, let us discover the magic that unfolds when Shelley decides to dive deep and be bold. So this is the story about, and let's see. We're going to read a few pages, yeah? So first, let's look at the beautiful illustrations by Sumaya. And let's start. A proper jelly is always jiggly and squishy. Not just the jelly you eat, but also the fishy. So come, let's hear a very special story about a unique jellyfish named Shelley. So here we all know Shelley by now very well. This is Shelley. Which ocean did Shelley live in? Let's find out. So long, long ago in the vast Indian Ocean, there lived a jellyfish with a happy disposition. Shelley loved her bright coral reef home and danced in the sun with friends of her own. Shelley looked quite different from the jellyfish of today. If you looked really close, you'd notice it too. She had wiggly arms and tentacles that were long, but the shell on her head made her so very strong. She's very strong. She's got a nice strong shell on her head. And how did she use that shell? Bouncing Pearl was the game she played very well. Boing, boing, bounced the pearl right off her shell. Her friends often told her, let's play hide and seek. To which Shelley replied with a voice that squeaked. She said, hide and seek? I think that's a game for the meek. The truth was, Shelley was terrified of the deep. You see, there were parts of the ocean where the sun did not reach, like the abyss and the trenches that were far, far from the nice sunny beach. So can you look? It's so dark. And look at Shelley, she looks so worried. She's like, do I have to go in there? No, I don't want to, I don't want to. Look at her. So, if you want to find out what happens next, what do we do? What do we do? Trupti, what do we do?
Get the book.
Read the book. Go buy
Now,
it. Read the book. I'm not reading it now. Go and buy the book. Okay, but I'm really, really wanting to. So we have a really nice narrator who wasn't able to be with us here today, and he's really narrated the book really well. He's read the audio, and if we have a little while, I think I'd really like to maybe play a little bit of that audio. Yeah. So yeah, let's do this.
Shelley the Jellyfish.
Is that audible?
Yes.
By Priyanka Virdi Grewal. Produced by Brave Soul Kids Studio. Narrated by Brad Grahowski. A proper jellyfish is always jiggly and squishy. Not just the jelly we eat, but also the fishy. Come, let's hear a very special story about a unique jellyfish named Shelley. Long, long ago, in the vast Indian Ocean, there lived a jellyfish with a happy disposition. Shelley loved her bright coral reef home and danced in the sun with friends of her own. Shelley looked quite different from the jellyfish of today. If you looked really close, you'd notice it too. She had wiggly arms and tentacles that were long. But the shell on her head made her so very strong. Bouncing Pearl was the game she played very well. Boing, boing, bounced the pearl right off her shell. Her friends often told her, let's play hide and seek, to which Shelley replied with a voice that squeaked. Hide and seek? I think that's a game for the meek. Psst. The truth was, Shelley was terrified of the deep. You see, there were parts of the ocean where the sun did not reach. Like the abyss and the trenches that were far, far from the beach.
Scary. Yes, Sara, now over to you, dear.
Yes, I am going to say that you should definitely read the book, and to read the book, you have to buy it. So Priyanka is going to show us where we can buy it from.
Yes, we'll be posting the links in the chat box, Sara. It's on Amazon, it's on Flipkart. Please do go and search for Shelley the Jellyfish and buy the book, gift it to friends, and share it with everybody. This is a book that's very close to our hearts, and we've all collectively worked really hard on this book. And it's just a pleasure to see your work out there and to see that it's been accepted and loved. Please do give us your honest feedbacks, because we would love to hear from you and see how we could make the other books, hopefully whenever they're out, better, and have so that all of you have a better experience as readers. Mommies, please tell us how it was. We'd love hearing. We really value inputs from parents, educators, teachers, everybody out there. So thank you all for being here today, and thank you, Atta, Galatta, for doing this for us.
And thank you, Priyanka, for bringing out this book.
Thank you, Sheena Auntie. The journey of this book was like, actually, I don't know how it happened. It just it was like the story inside you, which just wanted to come out. You know, you said, if you don't say this story, you're going to get a stomach ache, something like that.
In fact, I was going to ask you, where did you come up with this brilliant, story? It's such a lovely story. And I love the rhyming, the rhyming is really good. So catchy, and children will definitely love it.
Thank you.
No two doubts about that.
So it was something that I loved reading to my son. I liked reading him books with rhyme schemes. And I wanted to do that in my book as well, because even as a mother, I enjoyed reading it myself.
Okay.
I enjoyed the way the words flowed, and I liked the story behind it.
True.
The story, however, was, so we have Brave Soul Kids has storytelling sessions. And Sheena Auntie, even when I came to Little Feet, we had storytelling sessions. And this was one of the stories that I kind of told it to children. I remember looking on the net and trying to search a story about the underworld, the underground, and the underwater. And I really couldn't find something that I could resonate with. So there's something it just happened organically. And it was like, I have a storytelling session on Monday, so I better have a story in place. And that's how this story emerged. So thanks to you. Thanks to all my children also.
Brilliant. I think a lot of children are going to be very thankful when they read this book, for sure.
So I loved the reaction that I got from the kids.
Okay.
And that made me stay with the story for a longer time.
Good. Excellent.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. It is because of this I have got the wonderful opportunity to meet so many people. All of you are esteemed panelists, and I'm very happy that all of you joined. On some occasion, someday, we'll see you again very, very soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we are waiting for your next book, Priyanka and Sumaya, very soon.
Wait for us.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. It was amazing talking to you.